Hey guys, it's been a minute since we've gone live. So I am going to give our guest a few seconds to hop on here. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you guys have missed watching our lives as much as I have missed hosting them. But yeah, we're just going to give our guest a few seconds and then we'll hop right on in. Awesome.
Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. All right, so people are just going to be coming in and out. So we'll just start it. And of course, I'll save it to our IGTV so people can watch later.
Awesome.
All right, so hello to everyone who has not been here before. My name is Kourtney Galloway, owner and founder of Freedom Revamped. And today with us, we have Sydney. She is a poet and author. You can get her ebook. The link is in her bio. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so I'm Sydney. I'm a junior at Abington Friends School, and I've been writing poetry since elementary school.
Awesome. So the first question I have for you, which I ask pretty much every guest, what does freedom mean to you?
Freedom means just having the ability to express myself without caring what other people think of me and just like being authentically me.
Awesome. So the topic for today is poetry and healing and how they coincide with each other. So what got you started writing poetry?
So in fifth grade, I felt like I wasn't being like who I wanted to be. I felt like people saw me in a way that I didn't want to be seen, and I was just really confused because I thought I was I thought I was this one person, but people thought I was sad, and sometimes I felt just upset. So I went to poetry and I just started writing down all my thoughts and how I felt, and I think I came to like peace with myself, and I realized that hey, this is what I'm going through. I've gone through some things in the past with friendships that didn't work out the way I wanted to. But if I just keep like focusing on my mental health, then I'll like understand what I'm going through.
Definitely. I definitely understand that. That's sort of why I started writing. I actually started writing music first, but then I was like, okay, I don't always need to think about it. So then I just started actually just writing, just getting it out so I could release the feeling of whatever the certain feeling was. So I was like, I'll turn it into a blog. So when you started writing your poetry, how long did it take you to start noticing a difference in your state of being?
I think it was kind of just like immediate response because right when I write in my journal, like I just feel like the stress coming off, and I just feel like I'm understanding that wow, I needed to get this out because if I didn't before, then it would just be in my head and I would be overthinking.
Definitely. And was that hard at first? Like the first time you sat down to write, did you find yourself holding back almost, or was it an immediate boom?
No, yeah, at first I was like, it's kind of like confronting your feelings, and at first you're like, I don't really want to admit all these bad things about me, and then you're like, hey, in order to like heal, I need to like admit all my faults and realize that I went through these things, I did these things, and now it's time to move past them.
Definitely. Same here. At first, I was like, okay, what if when I start writing this down, I find out things about myself that I'm not necessarily comfortable with? So, how did you overcome that phase?
I think it was more of just realizing that in order to move past the mistakes, I have to admit them, and that I can't just hide from them. I actually have to talk it out, and after I write it down, I usually talk to my sister about like what I wrote to like just come to terms with it and just say it out loud so I own up to it, and then it just like feels better, and I realized, hey, writing it down and saying it all authentically actually worked, so I can't just like hide from the truth anymore.
Yes, definitely. So, we just talked about how it's hard to admit stuff to yourself. So, what made you get comfortable with actually sharing your art and your poetry with the world, because it is hard even admitting stuff to yourself. So becoming vulnerable and releasing it to other people, what made you want to do that, and how did you become comfortable doing it?
Well, I've always felt like words like had so much power, and I remember, well, when I started writing, I would send out little messages to my friends every morning, like, "Hey, everything's going on today, but you still got to keep your head up, and like we'll keep going forward." So I just knew like me just saying those little messages to them in the morning made them feel better about themselves. So I was like, "Hey, like if it has this much power, then maybe like it's worth doing." So I continued, and in elementary school, they had little spoken word opportunities. Like they had like a slam day, a poetry day, where like two people from each grade would read poetry. And well, I got signed up to do it, and then I got in to do to read my poetry that day. And I just felt so comfortable on stage, and I felt like, wow, like people are actually listening to what I'm saying. So I continued to like read my poetry, and people like felt inspired by what I was saying and wanted to like go on, like start writing about their own things. And that just showed me like, hey, I should keep doing this and keep sharing my words so that other people feel comfortable with what they're going through.
That's amazing. I definitely you're the second writer. I'll say writer because I've the other person wasn't necessarily a poet, but they did write. Um, you're the second one I've interviewed, and I've noticed that with a lot of my friends who are also writers, authors, poets, we tend to have gone through a lot of things, and that's initially why we start. Sorry, it paused there.
Okay.
Um, that ultimately why we start writing in the first place, and it is very hard. But for me personally, I have to be thankful that I went through those things. Otherwise, I wouldn't have found my purpose. So for you, I know you said you just were going through some things and that made you say, okay, I need to write this down. Do you feel comfortable sharing that moment, or at least you don't have to go into details, but at least the feeling that was like, okay, this is too much. I need to get it out.
Yeah, so it kind of started just with like a relationship I had with someone, a friendship that was really like close. And then suddenly like she moved on and she didn't want to talk to me anymore, and I was just really confused, and I thought maybe I did something wrong. I tried to talk it out with her, and she wasn't really like talking with me anymore. So then I was like, okay, let me just try to move forward from this. Started trying to talk to other people. Nothing was really going right with like right at the time, and I was at a predominantly white institution, so like I was the only black kid in my class, and I was really just like confused, and I got really like upset. And I
Yeah,
would just be in class, and I would be doing my work, and like the teachers would know that I'm upset, and I'd be like, "What do you mean? I'm fine. I'm totally fine." Like trying to smile through it all, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'm going through something. Maybe I should actually write down what I'm feeling, because you can put like a smile on throughout the whole day, but like people can see that you're hurting. So like you have to go through your problems.
definitely. I think that's pretty much everyone goes through a phase like that. It's just we have different ways of overcoming that phase. So I, for one, am grateful that I found that outlet through writing, because when people read our words as writers, it definitely helps them understand that they're not alone. And it's also, so it's kind of therapeutic for our readers in the sense that they're like, oh, okay, someone else is going through this. But it's also therapeutic for us, because when other people say, wow, thank you, it lets us know that writing it down isn't just helping us, it's also helping someone else. So tell us about your ebook that you have released.
Yes. So it's basically like just authentically like me and everything I've been going through. Like I think I have a poem in there that I wrote like all the way back in middle school that talks about just like the things I've gone through. So there are four parts of the book talking about like social justice issues, being black, like just coexisting with the world and just like how I am now, and just little thoughts that are going through my head. So I've been trying. I throughout like it happened. It was just in quarantine. I was thinking like, hey, I want to write. I want to publish my book, and I've been trying to find different ways to do it. So I was looking up different sites, and I finally like found one that worked for me. And I called up my sister and was like, hey, help me edit my book. And my other sister, she's like really good at drawing and she illustrates. So I was like, hey, help me like create little images for my book as well. And like we just like sat down and worked on it. And for a week, I was able to like in that 1 week, I was able to revise, edit, and just get like the help from my family to publish my book.
Yes. Um, Quarantine has brought out a lot in people that we did not know we had. So overall, how has quarantine been for you? I know like it brought out a lot of creativity in me, and you just mentioned, you did your ebook during this time. So, were there any moments in quarantine that had you like, okay, God, listen, this is a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. At first, I was like, I'm great. This has been like the best time ever. I've been able to do things I want to do. I've been baking more, writing more, like talking to my friends and family more. And then it just, like, I think it was last week, it just hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what's going on. Like, school's going to start soon, and we're not totally sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it was just like a lot for me to deal with. But then again, I went back to poetry and I started writing it. I had like a really nice workshop that I got into that week that really helped me to just like get all my emotions down and did a nice activity. And it just like, I was just started crying because it was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I was feeling. I thought I was fine this whole time. And really like, I just felt I was avoiding certain things. I was putting off certain things that I really had to just own up to.
Yes. I'll say the same for me. At first, I was like, oh, okay, I got this. You got this. You're okay. But then all of the social injustice started happening. George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery. And I was like, it's happened before. Like, we know it's happened before. But I think the fact that we're sitting at home and it's all on our timelines and we see it on the TV all day was a lot for me. And granted, when it happened before, it was all on our timelines and all on the TVs, except before we had school, we had physical school, we had physical work, we had to go to parties, so we weren't seeing it as much, even though it was still there. So although that was overwhelming for me, like I said before, I'm still, certain things have to happen because it's opened up our eyes a lot to what we can do personally to help things get better, which sometimes it seems like we can't do a lot, but when everyone is doing quote unquote a little, it becomes a lot. So that's one thing I'm very grateful for during this time. Um, I also wanted to ask, do you have any other projects coming soon, or are you sort of just taking a break?
No, I'm definitely working on a lot of things. I have like three smaller ebooks that I'm working on. Just different experiences because I studied abroad during school last school year, and um, I wrote a lot on those trips, and I find that like just being in a different spot like brings out different emotions. So I'm coming out with a new ebook about Paris, my trip to Paris, and like what that all the emotions I felt during that trip, and just like how it feels to like be in another place and kind of feel lonely and not have your family there anymore, and you're like, wow. And I think traveling brings out like a different side of people, and like you see like who they really are and like how you adapt to different situations. So I think that's a project I'm working on, and then I should be coming up with a new spoken word video soon. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was all the questions I had prepared. If other people have questions, you guys can comment them now. And while we're waiting on those to come through, I will ask if you have any platform or another writer that you would like to shout out that you feel the people watching this live should take a look at?
That's good. Well, not a writer, but like just different creatives that I want to shout out. Um, Sean Aline, he's like really a great guy. His at is Pyroglyphics, and he does some spoken word, and he's also a visual artist. He's great, and he helped me at my first open mic, and he's just a great guy, and he has different like live open mics that he has just on Saturdays. So he's a great guy to check out. My sister, Creative K, she's what Kayla Creates Art. That's her at. She's a great visual artist. She's a graphic designer, and I like her stuff. And then just like a business entrepreneur that like inspires me every day. Jewelry. These Bees Jewelry. She just makes the best handmade. She's a black-owned business. Best like jewelry, soaps, anything you can think of is just like amazing, and I get a lot of my products from there. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I do not see any questions coming in, so I would really like to thank you for taking the time out of your Wednesday to join us and go live to talk about your work. I know we were supposed to do it last week, and I'm super sorry about that, but
Okay.
this was an amazing conversation, and we have a lot of stuff we're working on here at Freedom Revamped that I'm hoping you can be a part of, because I absolutely love your poetry and just your writing in general.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, I will definitely keep in touch with you. And are there any other social platforms of yours that you think people should follow or keep up with?
Yeah. My business profile is at the Noble Collective, and that's just like a place where me, my sisters, and my mom, like we just have our own business. So if you check that out, and my personal account is at Citarella8, so I can drop that down. But yeah, those are my accounts. And then at Sid Talks, I post on that pretty like weekly, and just different poems to really just express my feelings. And in the like caption, you'll see like what I was thinking throughout that poem. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much. For those of you who are coming in at the end, I'm saving this to our IGTV and uploading it to our YouTube. So, once again, thank you, Sydney, for
Thank you
joining
so much for this opportunity.
us. And thank you to everyone who watched. Be sure to follow Sydney. And that's all for today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.